Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right in a relationship? Yet somehow something feels off, like there's a silent expectation you're missing, an unspoken test you're unknowingly failing? You're not alone. Most men never realize that women often want certain things, but they'll never say them out loud. It's not because they're trying to be mysterious or difficult, but because deep down they want you to know, without them needing to explain. And believe it or not, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius had answers to this puzzle, centuries before modern dating even existed. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to Stoic Sage and like this video, especially if you want to learn how Stoic philosophy can help you become the kind of man women admire, trust and love deeply. And I urge you to watch this video till the end, because what you're about to discover might change your love life forever. In the age of swipes, ghosting, and endless dating advice, most men are more confused than ever. They follow all the rules, buy gifts, pay compliments, stay loyal. But what if I told you that's not what truly matters? Let me tell you a short story. There was once a man named Lucius. He was a kind man, polite, generous, always trying to please his partner. He thought being the nice guy would guarantee a lasting relationship. But over time, he noticed something strange. His girlfriend grew distant. Her excitement faded, and one day she left without a real explanation. Lucius was devastated and confused. "I did everything for her," he said. Why wasn't it enough? That's when he stumbled across the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and for the first time, he realized he had been giving love but not presence. He had been offering comfort but not leadership. He had been chasing approval but not self-respect. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's about being solid, present, calm in the storm. And when a man develops these qualities, he taps into something rare, something deeply attractive. So let's dive into the 4 things women deeply want you to do, but will never tell you outright, guided by the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. 1. Be her rock, not her rescue. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you'd do anything to see her smile? Maybe it was late-night phone calls, surprise flowers, or simply listening to her talk about her day. You gave her your time, your energy, your heart, and in return you thought she'd feel safe, loved, fulfilled. But then something changed. Her warmth began to cool. Her eyes, once filled with affection, became distant. You kept doing more, trying harder, but it felt like the more you gave, the more she slipped away. Does that sound like your story? If it does, you're not alone. In fact, you might be shocked to learn you weren't doing it wrong. You were just doing too much of the wrong thing. Let me tell you about Lucius again. His story might sound eerily similar to yours. Lucius adored his girlfriend. She was emotional, passionate, and often overwhelmed by life. And Lucius, being the kind soul he was, thought his role was to rescue her, to solve her problems, offer advice, and fix her when she was breaking down. He thought love meant intervening, but every time she came to him in tears, and he tried to offer a solution, she grew colder, distant. One day, she looked at him and said something that shattered him. "I don't feel seen. You're always trying to fix me, but I never asked you to." That night, Lucius couldn't sleep. He stumbled upon the writings of Marcus Aurelius, and one line pierced straight through his heart. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." It hit him. He had been trying to fix her external world, when all she wanted was for him to be still, calm, present. Let me ask you right now, has a woman ever come to you crying, angry or upset, and you immediately tried to solve it? We all do it, because we think love means rescuing. But here's what no one tells you. She doesn't want a savior. She wants a sanctuary. She wants to fall apart in your arms and know she won't be judged. She wants to see if you can hold her emotional storm without getting swept away. Because if you can't handle her breakdowns, how can she trust you to handle life? Lucius learned to listen, not to fix, but to feel. He didn't try to erase her sadness. He just stood with it, quietly, strongly. And that's when things changed. She softened. She leaned in. She trusted. And maybe, just maybe, that's what your woman has been waiting for too. Before we go further, I want you to pause for a second. Think about her. Maybe she's your girlfriend. Maybe your wife, or maybe she was someone you loved and lost. Can you remember a moment she cried in front of you? Did you fix her? Or did you hold her? If you've ever felt that moment slip away and wished you could go back, stay with me. because the rest of this video is going to show you how to rewrite the story. From chaos to connection, from confusion to clarity. Master yourself, because that's what she's watching. Do you remember the first time you looked into her eyes and felt like you had to become better just to deserve her? That moment when she smiled and suddenly, your whole life felt like it needed a direction, a purpose. Not because she asked you to change, but because her presence made you want to rise, to become more. Now, think back. Since then, have you kept growing? Or have you slowly lost yourself while trying to hold on to her? This is where our friend Lucius found himself. After getting into a relationship with a woman he deeply loved, he thought he could finally relax. He stopped pursuing his dreams. He stopped learning. He stopped challenging himself. All of his energy went into her, into making her happy. But something unexpected happened. She stopped looking at him the same way. Her admiration faded. The passion dimmed. One evening, as they sat on the balcony watching the sunset, she turned to him and asked quietly, "What are you working on these days? What drives you?" Lucius was silent. He didn't have an answer. That silence said everything. Later that night, he came across a quote from Marcus Aurelius. "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." It stung, but it also woke him up. He realized something powerful. Women fall in love with a man's direction, not just his affection, his drive, not just his devotion. Because here's what most men never realize: she's always watching. Not in a judgmental way, but in a quiet, intuitive way. She notices whether you're still chasing something beyond her, whether you're still trying to master yourself, whether you're still alive inside. Let me ask you something now. When was the last time you did something for yourself? Not to impress her, not to win her back, but to grow, to push your limits, to evolve? What are you building in your life that makes you proud? With or without her? Because the truth is, no matter how much a woman loves you, if she senses that you've given up on yourself, a piece of her starts to detach. Not because she wants to, but because she doesn't feel secure in someone who's no longer leading himself. Lucius began to change. He picked up old hobbies, started running again, dove into books that challenged him, not to prove anything, but because he missed the fire in his own eyes. And guess what? She noticed. She came back to him with softness, with curiosity, not because he tried to win her attention, but because he had finally reclaimed his own. So now I ask you, what would your woman see if she looked into your life today? Would she see a man she can lean on? Or a man who's leaning too much on her? Would she see growth, fire, purpose, or comfort and complacency? If any of this hits home, then don't go anywhere. The next part of this video might be the exact shift your love life needs. Stay with me. You owe this not just to her, but to yourself. 3. Lead in silence. She craves it more than you know. Have you ever been in a moment with the woman you love? Maybe standing in the kitchen or walking through a park where she looked at you, and you knew she was waiting for you to take the lead? She didn't say it. She didn't demand it. But in her silence, there was a whisper. Please, be the man who decides. Lucius didn't notice that whisper at first. He thought love meant equality in everything. So every time they planned dinner, he said, whatever you want. Every time they talked about the future, he said, I'm open to anything. It sounded respectful. It sounded kind. But over time, she began to hesitate. Her confidence in him faded, even though she loved him. And one day she sighed and said, why don't you ever just decide? Why do I have to carry everything? It wasn't about control. It was about direction. Lucius was confused. He thought he was being considerate. But that's when he came across a line from Marcus Aurelius that shook him. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And it clicked. Women don't always want to lead. Even the strong ones. Even the independent ones. Deep down, they crave a man who quietly, confidently guides the relationship. Not with ego, but with clarity. A man who says, let's do this. Not because he's controlling, but because he's centered. Let me ask you now. Has she ever looked at you hoping you'd take the wheel, but you sat back and said, whatever you want again? We've all been there. And if you're being honest, maybe you've sensed that she started losing interest. Not because you didn't love her, but because she couldn't feel your leadership anymore. Lucius began to change. He started making small, intentional decisions. We're having dinner at this place tonight. I'm planning something for this weekend, just wait. No ego, no arrogance, just quiet direction. At first she was surprised. Then she softened. She smiled more, leaned in closer. Because when a man leads not for dominance, but from a grounded sense of purpose, a woman feels something powerful. Safety. Not the kind of safety that comes from money or muscles, but from certainty. From knowing that she can trust you to steer the ship when the waters get rough. Now think back. Was there ever a moment when your woman seemed frustrated, cold, distant, and you couldn't figure out why? Was it possible she was silently begging for you to lead, but didn't know how to say it? She won't ask. She shouldn't have to. That's the quiet test. So if you've ever felt like something was missing even when love was there, keep watching. Because in the next part, we'll uncover something even deeper. How to handle the storm she brings, without losing yourself in it. Trust me, you don't want to miss that. 4. Hold space for her chaos without losing your ground. Have you ever loved a woman whose emotions sometimes felt overwhelming? One moment she's laughing like the sun lives in her chest, and the next she's quiet, distant, maybe even crying, and you don't know what you did wrong. You try to help. You ask, "Are you okay?" She says, "I'm fine," but you know she's not, so you dig, you push, you try to fix it, and then she snaps, "You just don't understand." Sound familiar? Lucius knew that moment too well. His girlfriend was everything he ever wanted. Beautiful, intelligent, passionate. But emotionally, she could be a thunderstorm. She'd get moody, shut down, or cry without explanation. And every time, Lucius would rush to fix it. But nothing he did worked. The more he tried to calm her, the more distant she became. The more he tried to understand her pain, the more she felt unseen. He began to doubt himself. Am I just not enough for her? That's when he read a single line from Marcus Aurelius that shifted everything. Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved and the raging of the sea still falls around it. And it clicked. She didn't want him to solve her. She didn't want him to fear her emotions. She wanted him to hold space, to be the rock in her storm, not trying to stop the storm, just standing still through it. Let me ask you something, man to man. When was the last time you let her fall apart without trying to fix her? When was the last time you just sat there, listened, held her, and stayed grounded, even when her chaos made no sense to you? Because here's the truth that most men never learn. Women don't need you to rescue them from their emotions. They need to feel safe having those emotions around you. Lucius learned to breathe through her storms, to listen without reacting, to hold her when she cried, not with panic, but with peace. And slowly she began to trust him deeper, not because he had answers, but because he stopped being afraid of her darkness. And here's the most beautiful part. When a woman feels safe enough to unravel in front of you and she sees that you don't flinch, that's when she gives you the realest version of her love. Not the guarded surface-level love, but the soul-deep, I trust you with my heart kind of love. So think back. Was there a moment when she was emotional and you tried to fix her too fast? Was there a time you backed away when she needed you to lean in? You weren't wrong for trying. You just didn't know yet what Marcus Aurelius knew. Strength isn't loud. It's presence. And brother, if you can learn to be present in her storm, she'll give you her sunshine without even thinking. Don't leave yet, because everything you've heard so far has led to this final truth. A truth that could change the way women see you for the rest of your life. Stay with me. The ending is worth it. Now let's bring this home. Women may never say these things out loud, but deep down they're watching, feeling, testing. They want you to be the rock, not the rescuer. Master yourself, because that speaks louder than words. Lead without fanfare, just clear, calm presence. Stay rooted in her storms even when it's hard. And all of these traits, they come not from trying to impress her, but from becoming the man you were meant to be. That's why Stoicism matters, because it's not a dating hack. It's a way of life, a path of inner strength, clarity, and emotional intelligence. Lucius, he didn't become perfect overnight, but he stopped chasing approval and started building character. And months later, in a new relationship, he saw something different. His woman felt safe, respected, cherished, and she never once had to say those words out loud. So if you're ready to, become a man who truly understands women, not through manipulation, but through presence and purpose. Subscribe. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.